Yo, what up guys, it's Flark, and we've got some class tuning coming this Tuesday, so of course I wanted to make an update video real quick and share my thoughts on that. This actually is going to be a quick video, very uncharacteristic of me, I know, but the changes are very straightforward and generally positive changes, so it's going to be easy for me to do my analysis, my overview, and of course individual overview, and then the change in the meta as a whole, which I will try and explain my best thoughts on that. But we're going to get right into it with the start here. That's Druid Guardian buff, single target, doesn't matter at all. Of course, if they are found in PvP, all their damage is Thrash and their 4-set, Architect's alignment, or whatever, so this does not matter in any way at all. And of course, the Vengeance changes similarly don't matter. I think in RBGs with a certain trinket, they can actually do pretty solid damage in a team fight, but so can everything else, so I don't think this matters. We get down into the crux of it though with Warlock, as we see an AF buff right now. They can't really keep up with the pace of the meta, you know. They can rot, they actually have a ton of output, maybe more output than any other class in the game, especially if left to free cast, then it's truly chaotic. But that doesn't matter because it's all just sustained pressure, it's rot pressure, it's dot pressure, and that's not going to work against Rat Warrior kicking your head in. So of course, this is probably well-deserved. A 5% buff when stacked with the other buffs may end up actually changing Aflock's appearance in a PvP environment. You know, demo just got one change and now all of a sudden it's everywhere. You would be surprised when a lot of other things get toned down and then your thing gets toned up. Don't take that out of context. You can actually see this spec way more often. So Aflock, look out for that. But of course, now we've got some Destro changes. We've got some chaos damage increase for PvE, but does not apply to PvP. So that's fair. Chaos Bolt does not need buffs. Conflagrate, exact same thing. But then you've got some Incinerate and Immolate buffs that apply to both. I guess that matters because with Infernals down and Immolate down, in the Immolate buff by 20%, I mean, that could be a little bit more overall AoE pressure from them, but then of course you have this 4-set nerf where you do not get Reign of Chaos from Blasphemy anymore, which is big, and will actually probably offset those buffs. So Destro not in any better a place, maybe even worse, but that's only from these changes. All locks get some buffs down below, and we'll talk about that in just a second. With the real good stuff, right? This is player versus player changes. We got some big ones. Craven nerfed, probably way overdue. That just completely counters certain specs. And then does not a lot against others. That's very, very frustrating in bad game design, of course, because why should you just be like, oh, in the gates, I see their spec and I see my spec, and that's bad for us because their spec has a legendary that counters my spec. Neat. How interactive, how dynamic, right? No, not at all. So nerfing this legendary, absolutely good for the game and good for them. It's actually a sizable nerf. So a little late, but you know, you can't say that because the alternative was to just never nerf it. So you never want that. If something comes late, fine. At least it came good. Mage, survivability nerfs. Good. Yeah, I mean, for somehow they've nerfed everything that has to do with mage survivability, and they're still like one of the tankiest specs in the game. It's because DB sheep, right? So they are, you can't really connect to them long enough for you to pressure them out of cooldowns. And the fact that they had all that self-healing, especially early in the expansion, if you guys remember that, was just absurd. So they just have to really take away all of it. They have to take away all the self-healing from Mage because their toolkit keeps them alive and the class they play keeps them alive. Rogue, Mage, Priest keeps them alive, so they don't need self-healing as well, and it looks like they're trying to adjust that even more. But it's not really that impactful, but yeah, good changes. Mistweaver buffs, yeah, throughput, crazy. Life Cocoon's gonna be up way more often. You've got more throughput, which they already had a lot of. They're correct in that responding to burst damage is difficult as a Mistweaver because if you get CC'd and then you have to come out and you have a few setup globals to start healing, I mean, that's not like Holy Priest that can just ray you and top you instantly, right? Or Guardian you and top you instantly. Mistweaver kind of has to start channeling and then set up some setup globals and then heal you, and if they get kicked in the channel, then you're immediately dead. So yeah, Mistweaver needs an answer for burst damage, and reducing Life Cocoon is a totally fair point. So you might see a lot more Mistweavers. They do have a ton of actual output if left to cast, but of course it's very difficult to do that. But with Port Stun and Revival, and now these changes, maybe you're going to start to see them a little bit more. Red Pally nerfs to damage. Not that impactful with Templar's Vindication. That's just a conduit and Shield of Vengeance. I mean, yes, Shield of Vengeance nuking, blowing up at the same time you hit somebody for your 6 buttons in one, right? Templar's Verdict, Divine Storm, Templar's Vindication, Virtuous Command, and Sanctified Wrath, 5 buttons, 6 buttons at one, because Shield of Vengeance breaks at the same time. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. So it's good to know that will happen less. And of course, it was smart of them to not nerf the healing done by it, because Paladin literally doesn't have a wall. So I'm not trying to make the class unplayable, but it is very frustrating how good Rat Warrior is. But there's another change coming that will address that even further. Huge, very exciting. But we'll get to that soon. First, we have to go through Holy Priest nerfs. Finally, right? I mean, Holy Priest was unpunishable. Its offensive toolkit was just obscene. It was, it could go in offensively and not get punished. It could play defensively and not get punished because of Fate and Guardian and Ray and Chaston, instant CC. Now you got to fear out of that. I mean, you could set up your own goes. You could set up your enemy team's goes. You could answer anything on you with Trinket Fade, Guardian on the teammate while you're in stun. They were just too free. They were just so passive. They were just, I mean, you could be aggressive. You could just everything. By passive, I mean, everything happens for them. It's like, oh, well, I'm getting bursted because I'm in bad position, but I'll just fade. Oh, I'm getting bursted because I'm in bad position. Well, I could just Guardian my teammate. I can raid myself. I mean, you just have answers. They're just there. You just don't really have to worry about the things going on because you have so many answers. I know everybody thinks the way that I do on this. I mean, if you look at rep charts for AWC, if you look rep charts for ladder representation, every single person plays Holy Priest. It's absolutely insane. I've never seen healer disparity like this, especially considering the other healers are fine. Like, I swear to God, they have good toolkits. It's just, why play any of that when you could just chastise fear somebody for 9-second CC, all instant, while having 60 escapes, 60 danger response, right? It's just not okay. So anyway, that's my rant about Holy Priest, and they nerfed it. They nerfed its PvP mana regeneration, which means they're going to go really fast, which is their only weakness. So if you actually exasperate that weakness, you can really drive a Holy Priest out of mana once they go through all their saves. Now, instead of just healing until their saves come back up, they might actually go from that period, and that's going to be very bad for them. But it even gets worse for them because now you get rid of some of the duration of their CC, meaning their perfectly self-sufficient setup go where they can just chastise and fear by themselves with no punish, gets a little shorter. And then Ray of Hope gets a little longer CD. So if you take out some of their answers, take out a little bit of their CC, and then make them go fast, which they already do go fast with a lot of dam, then all of a sudden, maybe they just don't make it until Ray of Hope, and they need to start bombing mana, and then they run out of mana, and now Ray of Hope is up, but they don't have any mana, and it's like there's an actual win condition against them. And some of the counterplay is more available with a 3-second stun over a 4-second. It's not massive, but it is something. I mean, an extra second sometimes is life or death, and if you're living longer and then ooming them more, you're winning more often against Holy Priest. So great changes. Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch for Shadow Priest buffs make sense. Shadow Priest is underrepresented right now, so they could use a little bit of output to counterbalance how I don't play Shadow Priest at all. So I'll let a Shadow Priest main talk to see if that even does even the slightest bit of changes for them, in viability, but they buffed their damage. That's not at least a bad thing for Shadow Priest, right? They buffed their damage, so maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. Outlaw gets another nerf, but this one is actually way more impactful than the little slap on the wrist they gave them before, because this halves the effectiveness of Float Like a Butterfly. That's massive, because that's what's giving them perma evasion, perma feint. I mean, they're effectively such a juggernaut. No punish, because they have evasion every single time you swap to them. I get it. If you chain a rogue, they don't technically have perma evasion, but you can't just constantly be on them. They have resets. They have the hook. They have kidneys on you. They have peels. They have a mage that they're playing with. DB Poly, DB Ring. It's not that they had perma evasion. It's that every time you could hit them, they had evasion, right? Permanent evasion doesn't need to be 100% uptime. It only needs to be 100% uptime when you can finally kill them. And that's what Outlaw felt like. Every time you could get damage on an Outlaw, they had evasion, effectively making it permanent. And that's just terrible design. Terrible. I don't even think this PvP talent should be in the game. Why do they need this? Why do they need this? I mean, great. They gutted it. They nerfed it by 50%. That's huge. But with Dreadblades, they can still really get a lot of combo points spent, right? And I don't know if they're still running that, but Outlaw Rogue spends a lot of combo points. I know that much for a fact because we've all seen the permanent evasion. So, problem. That's a problem. So I don't think it should even be in the game, but thank you for at least addressing it. Good job. That is very stupid. Okay, and then now here's the big Warlock changes, right? Dark Pact buff, because they're kind of getting trained right now with the Demon Armor change. So Dark Pact buff, a little bit of burst responsiveness. Essence Drain, they want people to use that since Demon Armor was super passive, but Essence Drain actually has interaction. Now they can get a damage reduct, but if they get kicked on it, that's very bad, but it actually stacks way quicker now, right? 9% per stack and only 4 times, but instead of 5, but it's 36 instead of... I guess it was 25 before, so 36% is way higher and it stacks faster. So if you get kicked during it, it's a problem, but if somehow you can get a full drain off, then you are now 36% less damage taken. I mean, that's a massive wall. You're gonna see, and you know, I can go out on a limb, right? Because if I say nothing, if I just keep reading the things to you, that's not very interesting. Warlocks are gonna be insane with this, I think. No, I can't say I think. No, I have to be confident. Yeah, Warlocks are going to be insane with this. Demo's going to be insane with this. Aflock is going to be insane with this. Aflock gets a Dark Pact buff. They get a damage buff. They already do a ton of output, but they're kind of trainable, but maybe they're not trainable anymore with Essence Drain and the Dark Pact buff, and then the Soul Leech buff, right? So now they're going to have more healing. And they do more damage, which means they get even more healing. And then they have Dark Pact, which is even more burst protection. And then, of course, they have their kiting. And then Gateway Mastery got buffed. 30-second reduction in how often you can take it instead of 15, so they're going to be kiting you even more, and when they kite you, you rot to death, and they're doing 5% more damage to rot you to death, and also they have Essence Drain, so if they can actually get max range away from you from Demonic Gateway, then they can get a full Essence Drain off and be super wall. So I know, I get it. I mean, Demo is everywhere, which proves my point exactly. Small changes can make a big difference. I think they overdid it. And I know Aflock players are going to watch this video and they're going to be, there's my dislike, right? And that's fair, I understand. I would do the same thing. But sorry, man, I get it. Aflock has been a little underrepresented for a long time. Well, you're not going to be the victim anymore. Because when every single game has an Aflock in it, you're not going to be able to be like, right? Because right now I'm saying, like, I think it's going to be disgusting with these changes. And you're like, Aflock's been bad for so long. You're so stupid. But then all of a sudden there's going to be 50 Aflock. Look what happened with Fury Warrior. Fury Warrior was bad for so long. Now we can't even remember a time it was bad. It feels like it was 15 years ago. Because there's a Fury Warrior literally on every block, like fucking Starbucks. There's a Fury Warrior every single queue you get. So you don't get to just be like, well, we were bad forever, so being overpowered is the only logical thing, right? So yes, Aflocks are going to look at this video and they're going to say you're foolish, but I think I might be getting the last laugh. We'll see. I mean, I have to go out on a limb. If I just say nothing the entire time, that's a boring video. I'm going to say congratulations on getting the Fury Warrior treatment. You're not going to be able to play the victim card anymore after there's a million of you, just like Fury Warriors can't do it right now. And they also get nerfed, as we can see at the very bottom of the screen. Necrolord, this is a Ret Warrior nerf because they do the best with it. It's also a THG nerf, but DK has another comp that they can play, which I'll talk about in the final meta overview that I'll do at the end of the video, and then I'll let you guys go. But Mastery, of course, that really targets TSG and Ret Warrior, and of course Fury overall, because all Furies run Necrolord, and then a little bit more Fury nerfs with Crushing Blow, not bursting quite as hard because it charges you to them, and there's 3 charges of it, and it's just charge and damage, charge, damage, charge, damage, so that gets nerfed. And those are the changes. What do I think is going to change from this? RMP gets very slightly worse. Outlaw is actually killable, which would be nice because holy cow, what a mindless design for a PvP taunt to just have perma evasion, so that's good. Shadow Priest Aflock could be a comp. There, I went out on a limb again. Shadow Priest Aflock could be a comp. Shadow Priest buffs, Aflock buffs, Aflock survivable. So Shadow Priest is not really a good target when you're playing with an Aflock. You kind of have to go Aflock, but now Aflock gets all these survivability buffs, so now they can stay alive, and the Shadow Priest gets time to ramp, and the Aflock can get a 30-second reduction on that Demonic Gateway, right? So they can just take that and set up on you, and the Shadow Priest is peeling you from getting there with their Stun Silence and Instant CC, and the Void Jizz they can put on the ground. Shadow Play could be a comp. Af DK could be a comp. You think I'm foolish, but Demo DK, actually, one is an amazing comp right now, probably one of the best comps in the game, and gets buffed from this, by the way. So there's another change that's going to happen. Ret Warrior slightly less viable, but not that much less viable. RMP exactly the same way. Rogue, Mage, and Priest all got nerfs. So yes, finally, that may actually take that comp down a little bit, and all these changes are heavy buffs to DK Demo, which is a great comp, and Demo got some buffs, and DK didn't get changed at all, so DK Demo gets better. Frost Windwalker DK gets better, because neither Frost or Windwalker got any nerfs at all, and everything else around them is getting nerfed. Of course, Mistweaver could heal melee cleaves a little better now. Our Shaman could do that as well, since Holy Priest was just taking over every healer spot. Holy Priest will still be 100% playable, but it probably won't be 40% of the ladder for no reason. So that's nice. But yeah, those are all the limbs I think I can go out on. My biggest, my biggest standing out there on that ledge, my die on my sword call is Aflock. I think it's going to be, it's going to turn the tide from not viable to overly viable. That's what I think it's going to happen here. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to say something though, like I said. Anyway, that's everything. Jungle will still be fine. Craven, it means we can kill the hunter better. That's really nice. So DK players watching my stream, DK Demo got better. DK Aflock might be a thing. Frost DK Windwalker got better. DK DH got better. Going hunter became a lot more viable. But there's my thoughts, and I really hope you guys are excited for these changes, even though not everything is perfect in the world of Blizzard right now. These changes, outside of I think they overbuffed Aflock, but maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe it just puts them in line, but I think they overbuffed it. Otherwise, these changes are genius. Right? They address every single thing you can think of. That's stupid. Red Warrior is stupid. RMP is stupid. Outlaw is stupid. Holy Priest is really stupid. Mage is, Craven is stupid. They addressed it. Good changes. I'll see you guys in the next video.